how many people don't know what Polyface Farm does? We're in the pasture-based livestock business. We have pigerator pork, salad bar beef, pastured poultry, not pasteurized poultry, pastured poultry, and eggs and turkey and forage-based rabbit and whatever else we can cobble together to keep the taxes paid. Anyway, and we direct market. We sell to about 50 restaurants and about 10 retail facades and about 3,000 families. 2,500 of them are delivered to in 29 drop points in metropolitan areas, anywhere from an hour to 3 hours away from us. We don't sell to anybody over 4 hours away. 4 hours is what we define as our food shed, so we don't go outside that. So that's what we do. We have become, for the first time in human civilization, we have the luxury to be able to go move into a community, build a house from materials we have no clue where they came from, with construction techniques we have no idea how to do it, to plug in to get water from a source we have no idea where it comes from, to plug in a sewer to take our waste to places we have no idea where it goes, to eat food from a supermarket we have no idea where it came from. In fact, the label we can't even pronounce, and if we tried to duplicate it in our kitchen, we couldn't. Who's tried to make high fructose corn syrup in your kitchen? You can't. We plug in, we turn on a switch to get energy from a place we have no idea where it comes from. We have a job, generally in a Dilbert cubicle at the end of an expressway, working for somebody we don't know who and never met, because we are incredibly disconnected. One of the single most important connections we can make is the carbon cycle. Because after all, what really keeps us living and breathing and moving is that thin, very thin layer of soil that converts solar energy and metabolizes it into vegetative material that can decompose to feed the earthworms and the gibberellins and the mycorrhizae and the actinomycetes and all of that beautiful, wonderful, magical life that lives underneath our feet that we don't think about because we're disconnected, walking on asphalt and hurrying to the next, big business date. And so as we begin looking at how do we connect to that cycle, how do we reconnect to the earth in this very visceral way, connecting to all of the streams that come in and go out of our lives, what we're running up against now is this decades old now built up disconnect that manifests itself in many, many ways. For example, in our county, our farm is in an agricultural zone. That's supposed to be farm friendly, correct? Well, do you know that the agricultural zone prohibits abattoirs? That's a nice euphemistic French, sounding way to say slaughterhouse. What better place to have an abattoir than near where the animals are? So they don't have to get trucked up the interstate 1,000 miles and ramrodded on a trailer and trucked away from where they were birthed and raised and born and loved all their lives. Why can't they meet their demise right there? Another illegal activity in agricultural zone is a sawmill. Well, what better place to locate a sawmill than next to the trees? And so what's happened is, in the industrial food and fiber system, is that we have run scale so huge that all of our farm-related value-added infrastructure that so wows and connects people when they go and visit Williamsburg and go through the George Wythe House out to the back, and there's the stave maker, the cobbler, the blacksmith, the tanner, the spinner, the candle maker, the lard maker, fat, the butcher, all of this industry that creates this homestead, farmstead economy has now been segregated, and we have created economic and community apartheid by separating everything, because we are at the zenith almost of the Greco-Roman Western linear reductionized, disconnected, democratized, individualized, fragmented, systematized, all about me kind of thinking. So, you're considered a great Californian, a great American. Okay? If you go out on a 70-degree day in late November and gut shoot a deer and drag it a mile through the squirrel dung and the sticks and the rocks, and then put it nice and proud up trophy style on the front of your blazer and parade around town in the afternoon sun, and nobody asks you if it has Creutzfeldt-Jakob's disease, the deer equivalent of mad cow. Nobody asks, put a temperature probe in and says, ooh, it's over 39 degrees, you can't eat that meat, nobody asks you. You can take it home, string it up in your backyard, wait a week, under the tree, the birds are roosting in it all week, and then skin it out, and you can feed it to your children. And you're a great patriotic American. But if you take 1 pound of butter from your cow, or you take a sheep that you've raised, or a chicken, or a pound cake you want to make, or some egg noodles, or a chicken pot pie, or a vegetarian pot pie for that matter, and sell 1 pound of it to your mother-in-law who lives outside the yard fence, you're a criminal. See, this isn't about food safety. It's about market access and controlling market access so that we make sure that Walmart doesn't have competition. We make sure that Tyson doesn't have competition, that Pilgrim's Pride doesn't have competition, that, whatever, they don't have competition. That's what this is about. And if we would free up the entrepreneurial, innovative, creative marketplace embedded in our community, you see, the industrial scale created things that were so humanly repugnant, that were not aesthetically and aromatically pleasant, that we zoned them out from our communities. And so the embedded butcher, baker, and the candlestick maker that were historically embedded in our villages and our communities, that were a part of that village commerce and the transparency where everybody could see what went in the back door, or what went in the front door, what came out the back door. The butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker have been chased out of our communities and our villages. And when those economic sectors get placed outside the purview of people where nobody can see what they're doing, those sectors start taking social, economic, nutritional, and ecological shortcuts because they get disconnected from their patron base. And so ultimately, what we're trying to do, if we really want to close the carbon loop and to be able to take the solar energy that touches a place, metabolizes it into vegetation, harvest that vegetation either directly in food like squash or indirectly through meat, milk, poultry, whatever, and keep all of that carbon in the locale, recycle it in the locale, and feed the soil biota in the locale. Ultimately, we have to re-embed, reinsert at community-appropriate scale dimensions the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker in our neighborhoods and our communities. Then we won't be transporting food 1,500 miles from farm to plate. Then we will be reducing our energy, we will be having a nutrient-dense food, we will be eating fresh, and we will be discovering our kitchens and refinding our home as the hub of our life, rather than the home being just a pit stop between everything else that's important in life. And ultimately, that will be the answer for connecting us to our earthly umbilical, connecting us to our neighbors, and connecting us to the larger world. Because actually, we can't even fathom dealing with the larger world until we learn to live ethically and morally into part of it.